There are certain things Sigma males do that no one else understands. From their quirky characteristics to their weird habits, there's always something new to discover about them. Because they are the rarest breed of male in the world, people are not used to such a personality, and Sigma men are often misunderstood. While some of their behaviors may be uncommon, there is usually a perfectly good reason for why they do things the way they do. Whether you're a Sigma yourself, or just curious about what makes them unique, you won't want to miss this. Here are 12 weird things all Sigma males do that normal people don't understand. 1. They always sit in the back of the room. Sigma males are not fans of being in the spotlight, so they often choose to sit in the back of the room where they can observe everything without being noticed. This way, they can analyze and see what's going on without being bothered. They're not trying to be antisocial, they just prefer to blend in and not be the center of attention like alpha males. Sitting in the back also allows them to make a quick exit if needed, which is always a plus. If they're in the middle of a boring meeting or conference, they can easily slip out unnoticed. They will remain silent unless they have something important to say, so people often mistake them for being shy or uninterested. But the truth is, they're so observant that they often know more about what's happening than anyone else in the room. This type of person is always listening and taking everything in, but you would never know it because they're so quiet. Staying in the background is just their way of collecting information and avoiding any unnecessary interactions. 2. They avoid overly chatty salespeople to the point of leaving the store without buying anything. Sigma men do not like to be bothered when they are trying to shop. They prefer to analyze their options and decide without input from anyone else. Sure, if they have a question, they will ask for help, but most of the time they would rather figure it out on their own. They hate feeling pressured into buying something to the point of leaving the store if they are being chased by a salesperson constantly trying to talk to them. They understand that it's part of the job, but they would still prefer to be left alone. They hate when people try to push their products on them by explaining every little detail or using high-pressure tactics. Sigma males are all about efficiency, so they will quickly move on to another store where they can get what they need without having to listen to all the sales pitches. If you're selling something to a Sigma, it's important to be straight to the point. Just give them the information they need and let them decide on their own. If they want more information, they will ask for it. 3. They don't always like compliments. It's not that Sigma males don't like hearing good things about themselves. Of course, it feels nice to be recognized for doing something well. But sometimes, compliments can feel like a trap, or the delivery can be off-putting. Sigmas are often very humble and don't need validation from others to feel good about themselves. They know their own worth and don't need others to tell them what they're doing right. They also don't like when people try to butter them up or flatter them just to get something in return. This is a huge turnoff for Sigmas, and they will quickly see through it. While compliments are designed to make people feel good, many Sigma men don't like being told they're smart or good at something. Most of them already know that they're smart. What makes them feel good is when people listen to them and follow their advice. It's okay to compliment a Sigma every now and again, but you should use those compliments sparingly. If you compliment a Sigma all the time, they might not take any of your compliments seriously. 4. They change walking direction to avoid crossing a big-mouth person. Big-mouth people are a real pain for Sigma males. They are always talking, always trying to be the center of attention, and they never seem to know when to stop. They're loud, obnoxious, and just plain annoying. If they get caught in a conversation with one of these people, it will be very difficult to escape and waste their time. So instead, they change walking direction, cross the street, or do whatever it takes to avoid them. Sigma men value their time and would rather not waste it on people who drain their energy. It's not that they don't like talking to people, they just prefer to speak to people they actually have something in common. Many people take this behavior the wrong way and think that Sigma males are snobs, but they really hate small talk or anything that feels like a waste of time. We all know that kind of person who just loves to hear themselves talk, and Sigmas would rather avoid those people at all costs. 5. They don't always smile. While some people may think that Sigma males are always serious and never crack a smile, this isn't necessarily true. They just don't see the point in smiling all the time like some people do. This doesn't mean that they're unhappy or not enjoying themselves. Sigmas tend to be very internal. They're not the type of people who feel the need to outwardly express their emotions all the time. They are often mistaken for being detached or aloof, when in reality they are just deep in thought. They process everything internally and prefer to keep their thoughts and feelings to themselves. A Sigma doesn't need to have a grin on his face to show he's having fun. He's perfectly content enjoying the moment without needing to share it with everyone around him. While alpha males are often expressive and outgoing, Sigma men are more reserved and introspective. 6. They may ignore phone calls. Sigma males are not fond of talking on the phone, so they may let calls go to voicemail or even ignore them altogether. They would rather text or talk in person because most of the time it's more efficient and they don't have to waste time on added pleasantries. Small talk is not their thing, so they would rather just get to the point. While this may seem rude to some people, it's actually just a preference. Sigma men aren't trying to be impolite. They're just not interested in talking on the phone all the time. If it's something important, they will definitely answer, but if it's not, they're not going to waste their time. If you're trying to reach a Sigma, don't take it personally if he doesn't pick up. It's not that he doesn't like you. It's just that he operates on his own terms. He will not change his schedule or plans just to accommodate you. So if you want to get in touch with a Sigma, your best bet is to send him a text. That way, he can reply on his own time and according to his own schedule. 7. They hate being alone with boring and dramatic people. There's nothing worse for a Sigma than being stuck in a room with someone who has nothing interesting to say or constantly complaining about their problems. Life is too short to waste time on those who drain our energy. Sigma males prefer to surround themselves with people who are exciting, inspiring, and who make them laugh. They need to be in control of their environment and don't want to be drawn into a situation that they can't control. They are often very independent and aren't interested in being around needy or clingy people. While this may seem like a cold way to view the world, it actually makes perfect sense when you consider that Sigmas are often successful and don't want anything or anyone to derail their progress. 8. They pretend they're not home when the doorbell rings. Sigma males are masters of discretion, so it's no surprise that they often avoid answering the door when someone rings the bell. If they don't know the person, they'll usually pretend they're not home in order to avoid any unwanted interactions. They do this to avoid salespeople or other solicitors, but it can also be a way to keep their privacy. This doesn't mean they're paranoid. They just value their privacy and alone time more than most people. They don't like being disturbed when they're focusing on something or don't feel like talking, so they'll often use this tactic to stay in their own little world. While it may seem rude to some, it's actually a pretty smart way to avoid any unwanted interruptions. People don't usually take kindly to being ignored, but Sigma males don't really care about that. It's not like they're trying to be disrespectful. They're just focused on something and don't have time for small talk. 9. They tell nothing to many and everything to a few. Sigmas are very selective with the people they let into their inner circle. They don't just open up to anyone and everyone. They only share their thoughts and feelings with the people they trust. They are very private people and don't like to share too much about themselves with others. This is because they know that not everyone is deserving of their trust. They have been burned in the past by people they thought were their friends, so now they are very careful about who they let into their lives. They prefer quality over quantity when it comes to friendships. Sigma males are very loyal friends and will do anything for the people they care about. But they won't hesitate to cut someone out of their life if they feel like that person is toxic or harmful to them in any way. This won't happen often, but when it does, the Sigma will never look back. 10. They recharge their batteries by being alone. While alpha males need to be in the spotlight and surrounded by people to feel good, Sigma males are the complete opposite. They often feel drained after being around people for too long, and they need some time alone to recharge their batteries. This is why they are often seen as lone wolves. They don't need other people to feel complete or happy. Sigmas are perfectly content being on their own and often find solace in nature or in their own thoughts. This is because they can recharge their batteries and get away from the noise and chaos of the world. They can clear their minds and come back feeling refreshed and ready to take on anything. Many people see being alone as a negative thing, but for Sigmas, it's a necessary part of life. It allows them to reset and come back feeling better than ever. 11. They don't leave their home until their neighbor is gone. While some people may enjoy having close neighbors, Sigma males prefer to have some distance. They like to have their privacy and hate feeling like they're being watched. So if they see their neighbor leaving, they usually wait a few minutes before leaving their own house. This doesn't mean they don't like their neighbors or are antisocial, but they are tired of the same questions every time they see them. Sure, it's nice to chat for a bit, but sometimes you are in a hurry and just want to get on with your day. The last thing you want is to be held up by a long, boring conversation about your job, the weather, or anything else you really don't care about. 12. They prefer to enjoy watching rather than participating. While some people might see this as a negative trait, Sigmas often prefer to take a backseat and observe. They would rather watch other people interact than participate themselves. This is because they like to understand how people work and what motivates them. They find it more interesting to sit back and take everything in rather than be in the middle of the action. This doesn't mean that Sigmas don't like to participate in activities. They just prefer to do so on their own terms. They don't want to be forced into anything and like to have a clear understanding of what's going on before they jump in. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Sigma males live by this motto and would much rather listen to others than talk about themselves. They can learn a lot about people just by listening to them and watching their body language. This helps them to understand people better and figure out what they want or need.